You're listening to Wiretap with Jonathan Goldstein on CBC Radio 1 and Sirius Satellite Radio 137. Today's episode, On the Beach.
Well, I've been there at night when no one is really there. I was doing mushrooms with these two teenagers. One of them I was obsessed with. I became infatuated with them. This is when I first moved here.
You had just gotten to Vancouver.
Yeah. I didn't know anyone, and I think, and I really wanted to just be around people, and mm-hmm. I hardly knew anyone.
And how did you meet this guy?
I don't know, through some other guy on the beach. I met him through this guy on the beach who introduced me to him, and he was working at a restaurant near the beach. I was so attracted to him. I thought he was so gorgeous. He was like a little boy.
What were some of the things that were boy-like?
His language, like high school, I don't know how to explain it. He wasn't very sophisticated. He was 18, mm-hmm. and I remember having to go into the liquor store to buy alcohol for him. I think it was vodka or something. Yeah.
And where'd you guys drink it?
I think it was at the beach. We mixed it with something. And then they were also, him and his friends were into crystal meth and doing mushrooms. And that's, I guess, one thing that I felt was really immature. It was just, experimenting with drugs, and they were still doing that. Just something I wasn't doing. Mm-hmm. But I did it just to be with them. Spiders are singing in the salty breeze. And I remember going into this restaurant. It wasn't really a restaurant. It was more like it was sort of like a cafe restaurant place. He was serving, and there were all these girls there waiting for him to go on his break. And I was there to see him, and they were there in a separate table looking at him. And it was just, that made me feel like I felt so good that day.
Really?
Yeah, because I was the one I was talking to. It felt like high school, like in a cafeteria. Mm-hmm. It's like it felt like a cafeteria scene in a movie when you had the popular girl talking to the most gorgeous guy, and then the table of a bunch of other girls who are infatuated with that guy, and then I felt kind of superior.
And was that a new feeling for you? Had you been in that situation before? No,
because I was always like the geek in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I never had any. I didn't have any boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. So was starting to date that 18-year-old kid? Was it like a better version of high school?
Yeah, it was like the guy that I probably would want to be with in high school, but he probably wouldn't be interested in me because I was such a freak.
Thinking back on it, what was the best moment that you guys ever spent together?
It's probably at the beach. It was the sunset, mm-hmm. and just talking, but we have nothing to say because I have nothing to say to him. he just he was into Snoop Dogg. He talked about Snoop and rap. He was really into rap music. Too Short. That's all he could talk about. Too Short. And he said, I think you're so gorgeous, and touched my hair. Spiders are singing in the salty breeze. Spiders are filling out tax returns, spinning out webs of deductions and melodies on a private beach in Michigan.
Over the holidays, I went to New York, and on Christmas Day, I got the brainstorm of going down to Coney Island.
So on the most depressing day of the year, you picked the most depressing thing you could possibly do.
Essentially, there's just something about going to Coney Island that feels like you're just venturing to the end of the earth. It has that kind of feeling about it, and especially in the winter, when really no one's there and all the carnival rides are shut down, and one of the only places that was open was Nathan's Famous Hot Dog. And so I went in there and I had an incredibly overboiled, mushy corn on the cob and a paper cup of Coors beer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, after I had my Christmas dinner, I walked out to the beach, and the sun was going down in the sky, and it just, everything became even bleaker. I'd been in New York about a week at that point, and I really desperately needed some kind of vacation. I just really wanted to relax and get away and just not think. And instead, I just ended up really kind of just worrying a lot and being sort of obsessive. And one of the thoughts that I had as I was standing by the water was that I was not experiencing the experience properly, that I was not getting everything out of it that I should be.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should be able to live your regular life the way that you are living for those couple of hours that you're in a museum.
Right,
where you're looking at everything and you're so primed to see the beauty in things. And you're taking the time to see the beauty in things.
Exactly.
And normally, during the regular course of the day, you're in a big rush to get the bus, you're in the rush for this and that, and it's just there's no value in that sort of experience.
Well, the thing about a museum is that it's contained, and I think that's what's, you said, a very meditative environment, but it's a contained environment. When you're standing by the ocean, there's no curator.
Right.
You have to be your own curator, and unless you're very, very comfortable with yourself, you're not going to take what you're supposed to take from it, because it's vast.
Yeah, and also you feel like maybe you actually deep down don't really appreciate it, and then it makes you feel like, what kind of an animal am I? You know what I mean? To not be able to appreciate the ocean. So, I'm looking at the water. I'm thinking about all of this stuff, and also actually I'm trying, which is completely ridiculous, is I'm figuring I could sort of make up for a so-so mediocre kind of vacation if I'm able to have some kind of perfect moment while standing by the water.
Like a transcendent moment of great beauty.
Yeah, or just figure something out about myself in that moment that I could take home with me. That would add value to a humdrum vacation.
Exactly.
And so I'm just standing there, and basically I'm trying to inflict this perfect moment onto myself. Gritting my teeth and willing it to be.
Like self-flagellation.
Yeah, except with beauty.
Exactly. You're beating yourself with beauty. You're attempting to beat yourself with beauty.
The thing is that actually a sort of perfect moment does occur.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's you think that that that's not how perfect moments work, and they just kind of sneak up on you.
To have a perfect moment.
I forced myself. What I figured out while I was standing there was that I just wanted to be more relaxed and more comfortable when I'm with people. You know, less worry about what I'm going to say in response to what they're saying, and just actually enjoy people's company. That was it. Like, you know, very simple. Yeah. So I felt pretty good about that, and I felt like the sun was going down and I was ready to go back home to where I was staying. And I went to the subway platform, and the F train was there going uptown, and I got on a subway car, and it was completely empty except for this one woman. I'm looking at this woman, and I realize immediately who it is.
Who was it?
Well, the reason I recognized her right off the bat was because her entire face is tattooed. This woman is a part of the Coney Island Freak Show that I had seen a couple summers earlier. What this woman does, like her entire body and face is tattooed, right? And what she does, her act is basically she comes out on stage and she just eats insects. She eats worms and I think maybe maggots and centipedes.
Wow.
But the thing that's amazing, like that you wouldn't figure on, is that she's actually she's really cute. And there's something about her presence on stage which is very endearing. And you wouldn't expect it from someone whose entire body is tattooed and is eating bugs on stage. But there's something very little kid about her. Like the kind of glee that she takes in freaking everybody out with the way that she's eating worms. Like she throws the worms in her mouth and she walks up to every single person in the audience. Like it's a small audience, like maybe 40 people. And she chews it right up close to your face. And the more kind of freaked out and grossed out that you get, the more she smiles and laughs. And I remember I feel like when I left the freak show, I was left with the question of, why would this pretty and seemingly normal girl end up tattooing her face in the way that she did, And I was very curious about it. And here I was on the subway with her sitting right opposite me. The whole idea of approaching strangers makes me very uncomfortable and nervous. But then I harkened back to my perfect moment on the beach. And I thought about how I want to be able to be more comfortable with people and just, not feel this, just not feel this kind of paralyzing self-consciousness.
Right.
And so I felt like I have to say something to her, But this is what I decided to do. I said hi to her, and I told her that I had seen her perform a couple summers back, and I told her that I have a radio show in Canada, which, seems like a pretty safe-sounding kind of thing to say,
Not like a total psycho.
No.
A radio show.
Very inoffensive. So I said to her, I saw you perform, and I have so many questions about what you do and why you do it, and I was just wondering if maybe I could call you at some point and we could talk over the phone. And it was just shocking how shy she was. She just, the whole time that we were talking, she wouldn't even meet my gaze. She just kept looking at her shoes. And she said, I won't be able to because I don't have a phone. I've been, traveling around a lot, staying at people's houses. And then I said, well, is there a phone number you can give me at, someone's house that you're staying at? And she said, no, because I never know where I'm going to be staying. And just because she seemed so shy and so put upon and everything, I just didn't want to push it anymore. And I apologized for bothering her, and I went back to reading a book. And we rode all the way into Manhattan without looking at each other or saying anything.
It's perfect. You have the realization. You get on the subway. It's Christmas. There's one person on there, right? If there was a God, you'd think that person was sent to you by God to teach you something, to give you what you were looking for.
Yeah, just because of the timing of it. The kind of the suggestive proximity between standing by the water and having this sort of revelation and then seeing this woman.
Anything on Christmas is significant, especially when it's abandoned, and then you reached out and...
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing happened. I mean, what am I supposed to take away from that?
Maybe it's... If there was a God, it would be a God trying to show you why you are the way you are, and why you should maybe understand that and appreciate it.
Yes, what am I supposed to learn?
Well, you tried. I mean, that's the thing. At least you tried. You were given the opportunity to try with someone, and it didn't work out. But that doesn't mean, you can't look for the one perfect moment. That's the thing. It's not. Life isn't just one perfect moment. It never is perfect. Carry on and try again another time. So what did you do that night? What did you do Christmas night?
I went to this friend's house who was making a Christmas dinner, and he had prepared a goose, and it's the first time I ever ate goose.
There is a blue t-shirt with a kitten on it that I bought at the beach. I met my boyfriend when I was wearing that t-shirt, but they still only give me 25 cents for it. This is the exact spot where I kissed someone when I was 15. I liked to peek at myself back then. I wore a fur vest and had blue rain boots. Everyone used to say I dressed too old for my age. Once I have seen photographs of people as children, I always feel sorry for them. Even when they are just sitting there minding their own business, I feel sorry for them. When I was little, I had a friend who wanted to wear her coat all the time. She wore it in class. The gym teacher screamed at her when she wore it on top of the high beam. She stood up there, shaking, not knowing whether to go forward or back. My father says you have to be at least 40 before you can realize whether or not you are a bad person. I would like to see my blueprints to see whether I was designed for good or evil. Malik and I ride the bus, and I keep asking him how to say different words in Russian. How do you say bird, soldier, Valentine, moon and stars? I could go far with such a vocabulary. I should be incapable of evil with such a limited vocabulary. Elijah tells me that it is scientifically impossible for a giraffe to be able to walk. It is a good thing that giraffes do not read scientific journals. I'm too shy to walk into churches and ask the priest to take my confession. I hope that I don't have to go to hell because of my shyness. I have a friend who says that he doesn't go to church because he is on strike. He wants a guarantee of an afterlife, and until then he is staying home and watching TV. The seagulls look as if they keep being yanked up by a string, exactly as if they were puppets. To me, it is almost proof that there is a God. I go to visit my father. He is in bed rehearsing lines that he will say to his enemies if he runs into them. My father picks up every lamp he finds in the garbage. They cover his bureau and the floor of his room. When he gets all the lamps he's found to work, his room will be filled with so much light, it will be like heaven. I never pay up on my bets. I bet Moloch that the Messiah is going to show up the day after I die, and I have no intention of paying this money. The wind suddenly blows all the pages of my book away. My book is a paperback called Are We the Only People on This Planet? It feels like I am surrounded by birds. My necklace comes apart and the beads fall all over the subway floor. They become things that you can't see anymore, like atoms or molecules. In the boxing gym near my house, there are photographs on the wall of people that no one has ever heard of. The idea of fame leads to a lot of loneliness. At the Salvation Army, there is a pile of naked baby dolls with their prices written on their foreheads in black crayon. They were loved until they were unable to prove they existed anymore. The last yellow leaf in the entire city falls down from the sky. I pick it up and put it between the pages of a book, and then it is winter.
I'm 12 years old. My closest friend at school is Haley Skye. She's really tall, and she has long hair. She's actually really funny once you get to know her, and she sort of gets my weird sense of humor and stuff. Haley Skye's like a lot more outgoing than me, so I feel sometimes just like this person that follows her around. Sometimes I feel like I can't exactly be myself around her. She's just sort of always happy, kinda. And she's got a lot more presence, I think, which makes me feel kind of small. I feel like I'm sort of drifting, sort of, like with friendships and stuff. And maybe if I had more friends or something, I don't know, then I would feel less like that. I'd feel more anchored. For me, when I feel something, I sort of feel it in colors. Because I'm like an artist person, and if I'm drawing, then if the person in my picture is sad, then I'll usually associate the background color or their clothes to match their personality. And so I've kind of been doing that in real life and associating colors to how people feel and how I feel. Sometimes I feel gray, just kind of like nothing. Recently I've been feeling sort of empty color, which is sort of like this off-red color. It's sort of like faded brick color, maybe. Haley Skye. She is pink, but she's not girly. It's more like a darkish pink, neon-y pink, because it's her favorite color, and it sort of is who she is. Pink is sort of in your face and bright and stuff, and that's sort of how she is, but not in a bad way, I guess. Really, the only place I'm allowed to walk by myself would be my aunt's house, which is 1 block away. But I just wanted to get out of the house one day. I was sort of moping, and they're like, "Why don't you go to Taco Del Mar?" I'm like, "Okay." And they let me go and buy lunch. It's a burrito place. I I just walked by myself, which is like a big step for me. When I come back, my parents are like, how'd you feel? Did you feel independent? And I just felt like neutral, and I was just being myself, by myself, walking. So I wasn't thinking about, oh yay, it's so fun, I'm out by myself, it's so independent. I was just like, it was just normal, but it was different than when I'm just like sitting or walking with my parents or something. I was like by myself. I felt like I could have like totally my own thoughts without any interruptions.
If I could walk any place by myself, I would want to go to the ocean. It's sort of gray in the morning, and misty, and sort of breezy, and not too cold, but just cold enough.
I don't like those like stereotypical beaches where it's always like bright and sunny and the sand's like bright yellow. I like the foggy gray beaches. It seems more real. I mostly just like to walk around and just look at all the rocks and feel the wind and stuff.
I like the endlessness of it. But sometimes the endlessness sort of scares me. Like, I'm just some little speck and it doesn't really matter. And that's sort of scary. But most of the time, I really like it at the beach. I'm just there, and the beach isn't going to, like, make fun of me or ignore me or think anything of me. It's just going to be there.
On Wiretap today, you heard James Hurst, Molly Johansson, Annie, and Heather O'Neill reading from her work, Beach Haiku. Wiretap is written and performed by Jonathan Goldstein, and produced by Jonathan Goldstein with Sarah Gilbert and Carolyn Warren. Reach us through our website at cbc.ca/wiretap.